All right, so I think we're going live. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay here until I can see the feed, but hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me, Dr. Ellen Cooke and Dr. Jessie Mahoney. I have her intro here, so I can tell you a little bit more about her. I think it's working now. I hate how it does that. It usually at the beginning, it shows me that it's like loading,
My
but
video
it's
says
actually
you're
already able to
streaming
see
live.
us. Yeah,
My
oh good.
So I think we're streaming.
Okay, I will keep an eye on the Facebook feed so that if anybody asks any questions, I'll let you know so that you can just focus on
That would be
talk
fantastic.
and leading yoga. Yes,
So
so this is Dr. Jessie Mahoney. She has a really impressive CV, so I'm going to share a little bit with you about her. She's a board certified pediatrician, a certified life coach, a yoga instructor, a mindfulness instructor, and a physician wellness leader. So for 20 years, she actually practiced clinical medicine and pediatrics at Kaiser Permanente. And now you do that just as a volunteer, correct?
I'm just teaching at UCSF still. I'm actually in COVID, as it turns out, not practicing, mostly because of the different rules about how we can help out.
Okay.
But I will be back whenever that works again.
So she's now focusing her time as a public speaker for wellness and mindfulness and coaching. She leads a lot of yoga and is one of the founders of the Mindful Healthcare Collective. So in addition, she has a coaching group that she runs through her company Pause and Presence Coaching. So you can find out more about her there. The website is Jessie, Jessie, Mahoney, MAHONEY, and I'll put that in the links so that you guys can check her out. So thanks for joining us, Jessie. And I really look forward to hearing what you have to say about yoga as medicine. And then we're going to do some yoga. So I'll let you take over from here.
Thank you so much. And so I just wanted to share a little bit at the outset before we do yoga, which is of course the best part, about yoga as medicine. And as a physician who then became a yoga instructor, I was really interested in how yoga can help our health. And I see it not just as a form of healing, but also as a form of preventive health. And yoga is really a way of life. It's not specifically, many people think of it as standing on your head or learning how to do arm balances. And those are all fantastic, but yoga is actually about much more than that. And what I discovered when I did my yoga teacher training is that its overlap with medicine and health and mindfulness is magical, and it can really bring us to a different space in our lives if we pay attention to some of those components of it. So as a physician, I like to share some of these concepts of yoga as medicine with this idea, some people have heard this meditation is the medication or mindfulness is the medication. And I also think that yoga can be part of the medication and or preventive care. And so I like to frame it in that way. I teach yoga very much as a way of nourishing and healing yourself, not necessarily as a form of exercise, though exercise is a byproduct and the endorphins that it releases are a byproduct. But I think it's a chance to really think about nourishing yourself and getting in touch with yourself at the same time. So one of the yogic philosophies that I like to share that's helpful for both patients and physicians is this idea that the part can never be well unless the whole is well. And that's a quote by Plato, apparently. But I really think for me, it really espouses yoga because yoga is about the whole. And so we often focus in medicine on the part that's not working or the parts that are working. But yoga and mindfulness are really about the whole and finding a way for the whole to be well. And this week, I've actually been thinking a lot about that. Sometimes we think the whole can't be well when we're struggling or suffering with something. And I think there is this idea in yoga that you can have duality. You can be working on something and you can also be enjoying and having a good time and living your life and being present all at the same moment. And so yoga is very powerful for that. And that's this concept of the parts of the whole and being whole. So there's a couple quotes that I love to share. Timothy McCall is a physician who actually wrote a book called Yoga as Medicine. And a lot of what I talk about comes from this book. And he says that yoga is strong medicine, but slow medicine. So it's very different than like a pill or chemo, I would say, is strong medicine, but probably fast medicine. And just sort of thinking that, drugs, he says, may be faster out of the block, but yoga is often the tortoise that wins the race to better health. So those are two quotes that I super love. And then a famous yogi also says, whether you're sick, weak, young, or even very, very old, you can succeed in yoga if you practice. So yoga is available to anyone, anywhere, is my philosophy. And as we go through yoga today, you'll see like there's some things you can do, some things you can't do. And I am actually nursing a ankle injury, which is turning into a chronic ankle injury. And what I've discovered is like you do what you can, and you can modify and you can adjust, and you can still get so much of the benefit. So as we move through today, I encourage you to do that. And as you move through your life, like notice what you can do. And that's really what yoga is about, is noticing and being present. So yoga taught me this, to pause and to be present. And that's actually where pause and presence coaching came from. And it really helped me to accept what is. And this idea that when we do that, we show up as a much better version of ourselves. So for me, I became a much better doctor, mom, wife, friend, colleague, all those things when I paused and was present and sort of figured out who I was and noticed what was working for me and what wasn't, rather than just being on autopilot. And since this is a mindfulness challenge, I like to point that out, that it really can change how you show up for the world. So I see yoga as this opportunity to get yourself during the class to a place where you can bring your best self back out in the world. And that's where yoga can really help you focus on your breath, what you can do. I like to focus a lot on thinking about what is one thing about yourself you wouldn't change while you're doing yoga when you're in a pose. We say it's not about the pose, it's who you are when you're in the pose. And so really focusing on what comes up for you and where your strengths are. We always, in medicine, we focus a lot on what's wrong. And in our world, we focus a lot on our weaknesses and what we need to improve. And yoga is really about what's right and what's working and who you are. So I think that it's such an opportunity to sort of inspire. And I like to think of it in more of that positive vein rather than to fix or to heal, more of a nourishing. So a couple other thoughts of yoga philosophy I just wanted to share is this idea that what you do with your body has a profound effect on what you do with your mind. And what you do with your mind has a profound effect on what you do with your body. And so yoga is the combination or the union of mind and body. And medicine, I actually believe, is too. We sometimes forget the mind part, but that's actually a critical component of our healing and our wellness. And yoga is also about finding the balance between effort and ease. And I think that's, to me, just speaks to life, right? It's finding the balance between effort and ease in everything that we do. And it's also about practice and not perfection. And for so many of us, we're thinking about perfection and doing our best and all of these things. And so it's actually being in the moment and experiencing. And there's just tremendous value in health when you think about it that way, right? It isn't about eating perfectly. It isn't about doing everything just right. It's about showing up and practicing and doing your best. And yoga also is about challenge. And so it's the idea is it challenges you where you need it. And it's an opportunity to turn your liabilities, as we say, into strengths. And that's that parts of the whole. So the last thing that I like to share just before we get started is this idea there is some science to yoga, and that's the sort of piece of the yoga as medicine. And so it's really working on your neurologic system and activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation, rest, and restore, which is interesting because a lot of people think of it as exercise, but the breath is the tool for that. And so often when we're doing yoga, we talk about the breath, deep breaths, and using the breath to calm your nervous system and activate that parasympathetic nervous system. And it ultimately decreases your perception of stress. And so it makes you much less reactive. So this idea we talk about in mindfulness, this space between the stimulus and the response, yoga can actually lengthen that physiologically. And so it's this idea of practicing, and practicing can help you show up less stressed. And since this is a group of people who've had cancer, right, we want to decrease our level of stress, to decrease chances of recurrence and improve our wellness. And so yoga ultimately is a way of reducing stress in your life. It also stimulates the vagus nerve and stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, aside from decreasing stress. And so studies actually show that it increases your heart rate variability when you practice it. It decreases inflammatory cytokines, and it shifts your metabolic and psychologic profile in studies, in sort of medical studies. So realizing that there is science behind it. There's a lot more science behind it actually in other countries than here, particularly in India. They've been studying it for years, and it's more of a way of life there. But I encourage you, if you're interested, I love this book, Yoga as Medicine. It's a big fat book, but it has a lot of sections on different problems and why yoga works and what poses work for those. And it's just kind of fun to explore. And if you are a doubter, there's like pages and pages of studies. And so if you feel like you need that evidence, to me, I was happy seeing that there was the evidence. And I'm like, great, because for me, it works. And I feel like that's the most important piece of it. But I encourage you, if you are a doubter or you want to know more, to dig into that. So what I thought we'd do is do a sort of gentle, I know you mentioned energizing yoga practice, and I very much like to focus on the breath. And so you'll notice that I talk about the breath a lot as a tool, because the breath is, I like to say, always available to you. And so you can use the breath even when you might be in the hospital, right? It's a tool. If you can't move, it's still a tool. If there's something not working, it's a tool. It's a tool wherever you are. If anxiety pops up, if you happen to be a physician, it's a tool when you're in a busy, the midst of a busy day. It's a tool for everyone. And so learning to use your breath to help you is part of the magic of yoga. And it's actually part of the energizing component of yoga. The other thing that I wanted to focus a little bit on, and it's been my theme of the week, is grounding. And I think as we're facing COVID and the election and all kinds of other potential threats in our world and things that make us feel unstable, grounding is sort of the antidote to that. Grounding, many of us think though, is like a heaviness and a settling, but the ground actually has energy. And so that's why I thought of bringing that into this, right? As you connect to the earth beneath you, there's all this, I will say magnetism and, atoms and things like that. And so as you ground and you notice, as you're practicing, really notice the energy that you can bring up from the stability of the earth, and thinking, it helps you kind of like a tree in a storm. If you think you have this grounding, and trees have roots that go down and leaves that grow up. And so it's this idea that you can go in both directions and find strength and energy, no matter what is swirling around you this week or in your lives ahead. So that's my thought. Do you have a thought on how long you want to practice? We should practice?
No, I don't. It's totally up to you. I was thinking, maybe, I didn't know how long you would talk. I scheduled the meeting for an hour, so less than that.
That's fine.
Okay, 20 or 30 minutes.
We'll play it by ear. We'll probably do 30, 40 minutes.
Okay.
And
yeah,
I do like to end with a lovely Shavasana, or the rest pose, because that is really where the energy comes and is my favorite part. So what I would love it if hopefully people who are watching have some comfortable space. You can find, as I like to say, a comfortable seat. I have my mat behind me. If you have a blanket or a block or a pillow or a bolster to sit up on, that's what I recommend. You can also, since so many of us are practicing at home, you can use a hardback book like Harry Potter. Works really well. It's almost the same size as a bolster or as a block, a yoga block. So what I would like to offer is just settle in somewhere comfortable and allow yourself to ground into the earth beneath you. You can cross your legs comfortably in front of you if that works for you. In an ideal world, your hips would be above your knees. And if you have knee pain or arthritis, just loosen the cross of your knees, or you can stretch your legs out long in front of you. And as we work through this practice today on Facebook and on Zoom, I can't see what any of you are doing. So please do what works for you and what feels right to your body. All of the cues are just a suggestion of things to try. And if something doesn't work, don't do it. Yoga and mindfulness are really about awareness and noticing without judgment. So try not to judge whether you can or can't do something. And use this as an opportunity to discover and listen to your own body. So in your comfortable seat, notice your sit bones or your hip bones and ground them with intention into the earth beneath you. Tilt your pelvis, your hip bones forward slightly, and grow your spine long and tall out of your pelvis. Reach the crown of your head towards the sky, and with intention, drop your shoulders. Rest your hands lightly on your thighs. Try flipping your palms open towards the sky and notice if that brings a shift of energy. Palms open towards the sky is a way of increasing energy. Palms down on your thighs is a way of calming and grounding and slowing down. So whichever feels right for you. And then shift your attention to your breath. Notice the breath coming in through your nose and out through your nose. And in through your nose and out through your nose. Lengthen the inhale and lengthen the exhale. Notice with each breath the rise and fall of your chest. And notice as you just focus on the breath, any tingling that may be happening in your fingers or your toes. Notice your heart slow down. And allow yourself to arrive and land, as we say, in this moment, right here on your mat. Hips connected to the earth beneath, the stability and the ground. Sending roots downward, allowing the energy to come back up through you. Grow your spine tall, reach the crown of your head up towards the sky. And as you sit and breathe, try to slow the mind chatter. Focus only on the breath and on the words. I wanted to share a poem about yoga, the goal of yoga. No, it's not the handstand or the headstand. The yoga pose is not the goal. Becoming flexible is not the goal. Standing on your hands is not the goal. The goal is to create space where you were once stuck, to unveil layers of protection you built around your heart, to appreciate your body and become aware of the mind and the noise it creates, to make peace with who you are. The goal is to love, well, you. Come to your yoga mat to feel, not to accomplish. Shift your focus and your heart will grow. So my wish for all of you is to shift your focus during this practice and see if your heart can grow. Focus on that space behind your heart that's sometimes stuck. Send the breath with intention right here, right now, to that space behind your heart. Fill it with nourishing breath. And allow the stale and stuck to pass out through the breath. Bring your left hand to your heart. Press it gently into your chest. Bring your right hand atop the left. Notice, if you can, your heart beat underneath your hand. And take a moment to connect with one thing about yourself that you would not change. Bring your hands to heart center. Press your palms together. Fingertips touch. Elbows out wide. Take in a big deep breath through your nose and a huge out breath through your mouth. Another deep breath in through your nose and a huge out breath through your mouth. And pause for a moment. Connect with your intention for this hour or practice. What is your wish? And use that intention, bring it with you through the movements and the breath. What might you discover about yourself? What about you would you like to bring throughout the rest of the practice? And slowly lower your hands to your thighs and open your eyes gently. Soft gaze. Allow the light to come back in. And just notice how you feel. Notice what feels different. What feels more light. What might feel more grounded to the earth underneath. With intention, focus once again on your sit bones. And on the inhale, raise both of your arms up above your head, palms together, fingertips reach towards the sky. Exhale, drop your shoulders. Inhale, reach your fingertips long and tall towards the sky. On the exhale, bring your right hand to the earth on the right side of your hip. Ground your left hip into the earth and tilt those left fingertips towards the right side. Deep breath into the left side of your rib cage and a huge exhale. Use the breath to send nourishment to your chest. And the exhale to let tension, stress go. One more deep inhale through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. Press into your right hand. On the inhale, rise back up towards center. Both arms reach towards the sky. Exhale, drop your shoulders. Inhale, reach your fingertips long and tall towards the sky. Exhale, left palm grounds into the earth. Right hip grounds into the earth. Tilt towards the left side. Reach the right fingertips towards the left. Inhale deeply into the right side body and let it go. Inhale the energy and let go of what makes you tired. Deep inhale once again of nourishment. And exhale and let it go. Inhale, reach both fingertips up towards the sky once again. Bring your palms together. Intertwine your fingers, flip your palms up towards the sky. Shimmy your shoulders and elbows back by your ears. Exhale, drop your shoulders. Inhale, reach the palms towards the sky. On the exhale, drop your hands and head forward. Suck your navel in. Come into cat pose. Seated cat. Inhale, stretch tall. Fingers reach towards the sky. Come into a seated cow. Slight arch, palms reach towards the sky. Exhale, round and suck your navel in towards your spine. Inhale, move your spine, arch and reach tall towards the sky. One more, round your spine, suck your navel in, allow your head and hands to drop forward. Inhale, reach tall once again. On the exhale, unclasp your fingers, allow your arms to reach towards the side walls, palms flexed, arms extend long, every muscle in your arms engaged for a moment. Deep breath in, big exhale. Inhale once again. And on the exhale, wrap your arms around your right arm underneath the left. Give yourself a big hug. Watch your fingertips back towards your scapula and squeeze tight. And let it go. Another deep breath in, squeeze, give yourself a big hug. Let the breath go. Untangle your arms, extend them long towards the side wall again. Fingertips flex towards the sky. On the exhale, wrap your arms in the opposite direction, left arm under the right, fingertips walk, inch towards the back of your scapula, your shoulder brace, squeeze tight. Exhale, let it go and drop your head into the cradle of your arms. Inhale, squeeze tight once again. Exhale, let it go. Inhale. And on the exhale, untangle your arms, extend them towards the side wall and lower them towards the earth. Roll your shoulders back 3 times. Notice any kinks. Use the breath to continue to nourish yourself. Roll your shoulders forward 3 times. And allow yourself to land and settle. Pause in stillness. Ground your hips into the earth once again. Notice the stability below. Lengthen your spine tall and long towards the sky. Crown of your head reaches upward. And a huge exhale. If you're sitting on something, move it out from underneath you. And we'll come to meet sitting with your legs long in front of you. You'll rock side to side on the seat of your foot. Move the flesh of your seat out of the way so your sit bones connect with the earth below. Your legs are extended long in front of you. Toes flex towards your nose. Your knees can be bent if you have tight hamstrings or straight, whichever is more comfortable for you. On the inhale, raise both arms up over your head if you're able, and if not, you can just keep them parallel to your legs. And then fold forward towards your toes and allow your head and neck to release and drop towards your knees. Keep your knees bent wherever you need be. You should notice a nice release in the lower back, in the upper spine, and in the backs of your legs. Deep breath into the back body, into the back of the lungs, and huge out breath. 2 more breaths here. Allow yourself to release and just unfold. Slowly walk your hands up your shins to your knees, to your thighs. Rise your spine and the crown of your head towards the sky once again. Take your hands and tend them behind you. Puff your chest out on the inhale. We'll come into Tadasana or staff pose. Press your knees towards the earth. Your heels may rise up. Every muscle in your legs engaged. Deep breath into your chest. Puff your chest forward. And huge exhale, staff pose. Deep inhale, ground downward through your hips. Big exhale. Release your hands, relax your legs. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees apart. We'll come into Trikonasana or butterfly pose. Once again, rock side to side on your sit bones. Your knees are out towards the side, soles of your feet together. You can bring your heels in close to your groin if you're flexible, or keep it out in a diamond shape, whatever works for you. Most important, ground your sit bones into the earth, tilt your pelvis forward, grow your spine tall and long towards the sky. Breathe in deeply and huge out breath. You can place your hands on your ankles, on your feet, wherever your arms reach most readily. Deep breath in, ground downward, press your knees towards the earth gently. Another deep breath in here. Big breath out. Last one. Extend your legs long in front of you. Rock over to the right side of your sit bones and you'll bring your legs around the left side and we'll come to meet in hands and knees for tabletop position. Here, you want your hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly under your hips. Your knees are about hips width. All 10 fingers ground into the earth. All 10 knuckles and your palms ground into the earth. Tops of your shins press downward, tops of your feet press downward. Engage your core and have your spine and head and neck in alignment. It's a very strong and active pose, not a restful pose. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Extend your right foot long behind you. Toes point towards the floor, ankle flexed. On the inhale, raise your heel up about 6 inches. Hips are squared towards the mat and your heel is a little bit below your hips. Let the breath go. On the next inhale, you can raise your left fingertips long towards the front of the mat into a balanced pose. Left fingertips reach long in front, right heel reaches strong and long in back. Focus on what's connecting to the earth below and your core, your center, your strength. Use the breath for strength and energy. And reach long in either direction. One more deep breath here. Slowly lower your left hand, right knee towards the earth. Come back to tabletop. Reground into the earth. Find your balance, your strength, your center. Extend your left leg long behind you. Toes touch the earth, heel flexed. On the inhale, raise your heel gently about 6 inches just below hip height. Square your hips to the earth so you're even. Next inhale, reach your right fingertips long. Right fingertips reach long in front. Heel presses towards the back. Deep breath in right to your belly button. Big breath out. Deep breath in, stretch long. Big breath out. One more deep breath, focusing on your center and your strength and your balance. Lower your right hand to the earth. Left knee comes back. We're going to come into child's pose. Bring your knees apart, toes together. Sink your hips back towards your heels. Walk your fingertips long in front of you. Reach them long towards the front of the mat. And slowly lower your forehead or your third eye to touch the earth, if it can, between your arms. Child's pose is a pose of rest and relaxation and also of strength. Connect your forehead, or otherwise known as your third eye, into the earth. Draw strength and energy from below. Hips sink down and low towards your heels. Take a moment to go inside. Listen to your body here. Notice. Once again, think of one thing about yourself that you would never want to change. Slowly press back up to tabletop. Knees once again under your hips. Square right angle position. Walk your hands forward, a handprint. Curl your toes under And shift your hips up towards the sky. Come into downward dog, as we call it. You can widen your stance if you need to. And if this doesn't work for you, you can always at any point stay in child's pose or come back to a seated position. Downward dog is also a pose of grounding and strength and energy. With intention, press your palms into the earth, all 10 fingers, all 10 knuckles, both palms ground with intention downward. Balls of both feet connect into the earth, and your hips shoot towards the sky as your apex or the highest point. You can lift up high onto your tiptoes. Press into your hands and shift your hips back towards the back of the mat. You'll notice a nice stretch in the back of the shoulders. With intention, rise all the way up onto your tiptoes as high as you can. Notice the energy in the backs of the legs and slowly lower your heels towards the earth. They don't need to touch, just whatever works for you. Press into your hands and press your hips back a tiny bit more. Notice the energy and the sensations in the backs of the legs. Downward dog is also a spine stretch. Notice the length in the spine, the lack of gravity in the spine, the spaciousness between your vertebrae. With intention, press your hips up and back. Slowly walk your hands back towards your feet. We're going to come into a forward fold. If you need to widen your stance, if your hamstrings are tight, feel free. Your knees do not need to be straight. Allow your head and neck to release down towards the earth. You should feel a lovely release in your lower back. Take your hands, grasp your elbows, and allow everything to release downward. You can shake your head yes, and shake your head no. Come back to center. Shift your weight slightly forward into your toes. Shift it back into your heels. Shift towards the left. Shift towards the right. And notice as you come back to center, can you find your balance, your strength, your center? Unclasp your elbows. Take your hands and reclasp them at your sacrum, which is the triangle at the base of your spine. You'll reclasp your hands, extend your elbows, shoot your fists back towards the back wall. And on the exhale, allow your hands to fall over your head towards the front of the mat. Release your head and neck a little further. You may need to bend your knees a little bit more. And notice the stretch in the front of your shoulders here. Send the breath to the front of the shoulders. 2 more deep breaths here. One more. Lower your hands back to your sacrum. Allow them to run down the backs of your legs. Engage your belly and slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. So your head will be the last to rise. Roll up inch by inch by inch. Don't be in a hurry and go slow in case you get dizzy on the way out. Take your time. There's no rush. When you arrive, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, draw them towards the back of the mat, and allow them to release towards the earth. Your palms open towards the front. Tadasana or mountain pose. Lift up all 10 toes and lower them down. Lift your kneecaps up gently. Engage your thighs, tuck your pelvis, grow your spine tall and long towards the sky. Heart is light in your chest. Shoulders drop. Tadasana or mountain pose. Every muscle in your body is engaged here. Mountains are strong in the midst of storms. They can withstand anything. This is where we draw strength and energy. On the inhale, raise both your arms out towards the side, up towards the sky. Palms come together and bring your hands down together at heart center in front of your heart. Press your thumbs into your sternum, the bone in the middle of your chest. Palms together, fingers touch, elbows out wide. Prayer position. Take a moment once again to connect to your intention. What's your wish or your hope for this moment, for the week ahead? Take a deep breath in and a big breath out. On the inhale, let your arms come towards the earth. Raise them out towards the side. Reach them up towards the sky. Once again, palms together. We'll fold forward towards the earth. Come back into a forward fold. You can readjust your feet in your stance if need be. On the inhale, we'll come to a half lift. Spine straight. Crown of your head reaches forward towards the front of the mat. Backs of the legs stretch. Legs are straight. Exhale. Forward fold once again. Walk your hands forward and come back to downward dog. Ground your feet into the earth. Balls of the feet connect downward. Palms connect downward. Hips reach towards the sky. Pause for a moment here. Shift your weight forward over your hands. Come into plank pose or top of the push-up. It's a strong pose. Back is even. Top of the push-up. Bend your knees, untuck your toes, and slowly lower towards the earth. Chaturanga. Elbows bend, forehead comes to touch the earth. Weight is out of your hands here. They're directly under your shoulders. On the inhale, lift your head and chest, rise up into a gentle low cobra. Exhale, lower to the earth. Press into your hands, curl your toes, press back to tabletop and shoot your hips up into downward dog. From here, raise your right foot into the air. Heel extends towards the back wall, three-legged downward dog. Bend your right knee, stack your hips, roll your right ankle open. You should notice a lovely stretch in the front of the right hip. Three-legged downward dog. Both hands press into the earth, left leg is straight. Send the breath to the front of the right hip. Extend your heels, straight your knee, and lower your leg towards the earth. Raise your left leg towards the sky, three-legged downward dog on this side. Bend your knee, stack your hips, roll them open. Roll your left ankle, one direction and then the other. Send a breath to the front of the left hip. And slowly lower your leg towards the earth. Come back to downward dog. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Engage your belly and slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae to stand. Head will be the last to rise. Shove your shoulders up to your ears, draw them towards the back of the mat and lower them towards the earth, palms open towards the front, Tadasana. We'll come to face the side of your mat. So come to the middle, face the side the long way, and you're going to open your feet wide into a wide angle pose. Extend your arms out towards the side. Your feet should be directly under your arms. Turn your right toes towards the right. Legs are straight, arms reach in either direction. Bring your right hand, shift your weight over the right toe. Left hip is going to shift back towards the back of the mat. And you'll lower your right arm and hand towards your ankle. Shin, knee will come into Trikonasana or triangle pose. Arms are straight, right hand reaches towards the earth, left hand reaches towards the sky, legs are straight. Roll your heart open here. Look skyward if it's okay for your neck, and send the breath to the spot behind your heart. Deep breath in, big breath out. If you need, take a look at the video. You don't need to have your hand on the floor. It can be on your shin, on your knee, whatever's comfortable for you. Take your left hand and wrap it into the right hip crease. Roll your chest open a tiny bit more. Send more breath to that spot behind the heart. Make room for your heart to fill in diastole. Diastole is the rest part. And the more it fills, the more blood and energy it has to send to the rest of the body. So unstick that spot that's often sticky and tight. It's where the stress goes. And allow the heart to fill completely. One more deep breath. Extend your left fingertips up towards the sky. Engage the left side body and rise upright. Arms extend in both directions. Bend your right knee. We'll come into warrior two for those of you that are familiar. And you will bend to the right knee. Right knee is not extending beyond the right ankle. Left foot is pigeon-toed towards the left front corner of the mat, sorry. And your arms are reaching out in either direction. Your gaze is over your right middle finger, warrior two. Tack your right hip back a little bit. Left hip shifts forward gently towards the right side of the mat. Arms extend even in each direction. Inhale, lengthen your spine and crown of the head towards the sky. And exhale, sink a little into your hips. Bend your right knee a little more. Make sure your right knee is not extending beyond your right ankle. If so, shimmy those toes forward a little further. Deep breath in here. Big breath out. Warrior two. Straight that right knee. Bring your hands to your hips, elbows behind. Turn your toes to face the side of the mat, and we'll shift towards the other side. So left toes come to the left edge of the mat, right foot pigeon-toed towards the front. Legs are straight. Arms extend once again in either direction. Fingers reach long in front of you. Right hip comes towards the back. And allow your left hand to fall towards your left shin into Trikonasana or triangle pose on this side. Breathe deeply into the space behind the heart and let it out. Another deep breath here. Bring your right hand into your left hip crease. Roll your chest open and send the breath behind the heart. Notice on this side, it's a different spot that's letting go. Breathe deeply into it. Your gaze can be towards the floor or towards the sky, whatever works for your neck. Neither is better. What works for you is what's best. Use the breath here. One more deep breath. Engage. Extend your right hand up towards the sky. Engage your right side body. Rise back upright. We're going to bend the left knee. Come into warrior two on this side. Make sure your left knee does not extend beyond your ankle. Arms extended long in either direction. Spine is perpendicular, upright. On the inhale, reach the crown of your head towards the sky. Exhale, sink a little lower into your hips. Warrior two is a pose of strength. Hands reach in either direction. 2 more breaths here. Ground into the earth with your feet. Spine reaches long and tall towards the sky. Grow in either direction. That's where the energy comes. Straight that left knee. Bring your hands to your hips. Turn your feet towards the side of the mat, and we'll just heel toe them to come back to center. Shake your knees out. Roll your shoulders back 3 times. Roll your shoulders forward 3 times, letting go of any tension. And we'll come to meet lying down on the mat, on the earth. Extend your legs long in front of you. Rock side to side on your sit bones. Ground your sit bones into the earth. You can raise your arms parallel with your legs and engage your belly and roll back towards the earth. Vertebrae by vertebrae, inch by inch, using your strength and your core to arrive on the earth. Notice when you land, what parts of you connect below. Your heels, backs of your calves, perhaps the sacrum, shoulder blades, backs of your arms, back of your head. Draw the energy from below. Notice your breath slow. Bend your knees and place the soles of your feet on the earth. Bring your heels towards your buttocks. Flip your palms to face the earth. We're going to come up into bridge pose. Press into your feet and your hands and lift your hips up towards the sky. Knees connect energetically. Shimmy your shoulders underneath you so your chest opens, and you can take your hands, clasp your hands together under your sacrum if you can do that. If not, grab the outer edges of your mat and tug your mat towards your heels to help open your chest. Your hips and your buttocks reach skyward. Knees connect energetically. Send the breath to the space behind your heart here. Make room for diastole, for refilling and sending the energy to the rest of you, so that you can bring your best self back out in the world after class. One more moment. Lift those hips skyward as high as you can. Engage the back body, engage every muscle in the buttocks. Release the mat, palms come to the earth, untuck your shoulders, and slowly roll down vertebrae by vertebrae until your hips land on the earth. Untuck your shoulders, bring your knees into your chest, take your hands, grasp your knees, give them a hug, rock side to side, massage your sacrum. Take your hands and grab the outer edges of your feet. We'll come into happy baby. Soles of your feet face the ceiling, knees are out wide, hands come on the inside of the knees, and you'll just rock side to side. Gentle inner thigh stretch, massage your back, have fun with it. Just like those 4-month-olds who can get their toes in their mouth. Rock and play with it. Allow yourself a moment of pleasure here. Press your knees towards the earth. Soles of the feet reach towards the sky. Bring your feet together and allow them to return towards the earth. Knees bent to start. Soles of the feet together. Allow your knees to fall out wide. Come back into the butterfly position, or Supta Baddha Konasana, as we call it when you're lying down. Soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Bring your left hand to your heart and your right hand to your belly. Notice your breath slow and your heart slow here. Press that left hand into your chest once again. Take a moment to connect beneath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. And take a moment to appreciate all that your body is able to do and could do
during that practice. All the amazing parts of the whole that works together. And the power and energy in your breath. Bring your hands to your outer thighs and gently assist your legs to bring your knees back together, soles of the feet onto the floor. Extend your legs long in front of you and allow yourself to come into Shavasana or corpse pose or final resting pose. Your feet will rest slightly towards the outer edge of the mat. Flip your palms over to face the sky about 6 inches from your waist. And allow your body to relax completely into the earth below. Let the earth hold you. Nothing to do, nothing to think about. A chance for complete rest, complete nourishment. Allow your body to breathe itself. Let go of conscious control of the breath. If the thoughts come in, just let them go. And take a few moments here to just be. Gently begin to deepen your breath. And slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a deep inhale and reach your arms long above you. Stretch your toes long in front of you. And a huge exhale, letting everything go. Bring your knees into your chest and roll over to one side. Pause for a moment and thank yourself for taking a moment to practice today. Notice what happened when you shifted your focus. Did your heart grow? Did you find more energy, more strength, more balance? Press your hands into the earth and slowly rise back up to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. It can be cross-legged, like stretched wide, long. With intention, ground your hips into the stability of the earth below. Grow your spine tall and long towards the sky. Drop your shoulders. Bring your hands back to heart center. Press your thumbs into your sternum. Palms connect together, elbows out wide. Deep breath in through your nose. Huge breath out. One more deep breath in through your nose. And big breath out. Thank you all for joining me for practice today. I hope that you were able to shift your focus and allow your heart to grow a tiny bit. May you all be well. May you all be safe. May you all be happy. May you all be loved. Have a beautiful week ahead. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mahoney. That was a lovely healing practice.
You're
I do
welcome.
feel energized. I really tried to focus on what you said about energy coming up from the earth. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I wrote a blog about grounding a while back, and I just find that to be so interesting. We purchased a mat from Deepak Chopra that you can sleep on. A grounding mat. Yeah, so it goes like underneath the sheet, and it actually connects into the electrical system because all of our outlets in our homes are grounded into the earth. And so the theory is that it connects in through the plug, then the plug is grounded into the earth, and that you can actually transfer electrons between yourself and the earth while you're sleeping on this mat.
That sounds fabulous.
Really, yeah. He sells it on his Inner Space.
Fantastic.
So,
I just, in this moment when there's so much swirl and chaos around us, I feel like grounding into that earth and borrowing its energy is particularly healing and helpful.
yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I will hopefully be talking to you again soon. I love to collaborate with you.
My pleasure. We'll do it again soon. Thanks. Have a great day, everyone.
You too.